Welcome back to the LCS Challengers. I am Mazel, joined by Beatdown and Smacks yet again, as we have a halftime bit lined up for us here to finish out the last series of the day. Before so, Smacks, I want to get your thoughts on that Cloud9 domination in game number 1.
Yeah, up to 15 wins already. That's half the games in the split, right? There's only 30 to go, or there's only 30 total, not 30 to go. So that's already really, really good. But the fact that they only have 4 losses, I mean, this team is really, really good. I hope that everyone watched the other game on the other's channel as well with Dignitas and Wildcard, because them combined with Cloud9, I think are easily our top 3 teams in the entire league. So it's a good day to watch some NACL.
It is indeed, but let's go ahead and get to the fun part. I know you had some exciting stuff lined up for us here, so let's go ahead and see what we have in store for our halftime bit.
All right, so let's get things started. It's not a game show this time. It's not a tier list. Today, for our third halftime segment, we are going to do a little bit of a socials checkup. We're going to be going through a few of the post-match results and a few of the tweets that I saw related to these teams that we just watched on our screen, and see if people's takes are any good throughout all of this. The first one that I've got for us is from a post-match result from Cloud9, where we see Reddit user I Am Hugger ask, guys, whoever's watching all the games, please provide an unbiased opinion on Jimenez. Is he worth the hype? And, you know, first of all, love that he's asking Reddit of all places. Reddit is very, very, very well known.
Notorious for its analysis, of course.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Also, I'm noticing that I'm cursed into the background of this again, which is amazing. Anyway, we have a response from Doc Happy One, who says he's very good at beating people worse than him. Which I want to stop there real quick. Who is better than him in this league?
That's a good question.
What do we think? This is a team participation event.
Insanity.
So I would say Copy's up there with him as well. I mean, we haven't seen the necessarily the same amount of like solo kill breadth, but I think we've seen a lot of that mechanical play from him and a lot of those like fight back moments that MNS has also found in Copy. So I'd say my vote would be Copy as well.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
You have any picks there, Beat?
I'm gonna go either Insanity or Copy. If I really have to pick one, I'll say Insanity, because I think I never in my life thought I'd say this, but I agree with that random Redditor. Because the thing with MNS, and it actually showed in the early game, I think in this game more than any of the ones I've seen, where hands, check. Laning, check. Like, MNS is a good player. I think what we're going to see when we get to playoffs and best of threes is that he has some holes in his gameplay that are going to get punished, mostly outside of the laning phase. And if they are able to fix that up, he's going to be an incredible player and absolutely LCS bound. But until that moment, I agree. Against better teams, he isn't going to be as flashy, isn't going to pop off the same way, because there will be laners who know how to play against that.
Yeah, makes sense. You did a little bit of a reading ahead here, as that was the rest of Doc Happy One's
Oh, was it?
take. Yes, it was. You said it exactly. Maybe this is Beatdown's ult, after all. Saying he makes some mistakes that are about being too greedy or relying on hands diff, which is kind of exactly what you just said. So that's actually quite interesting. Do we see him improving at this? Do we think he needs to improve at this, or how are we feeling after, I guess, just that game 1 or the recent performances as well? Because this was from 2 weeks ago.
I'd say that performance spoke for itself last time around, but that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
10, 2, and 10, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Wait, repeat the question again? I didn't answer.
Do we feel like he needs to make any improvements about being too greedy or relying on hands diff? Is this Redditor on the right track?
I think so. I mean, I always got that soft spot because I enjoy players who will outhands you and things like that. But the greedy thing is the thing that I think is going to really cost this team later on. Again, best of threes are where we're going to see it in playoffs more than anything else. But he's still a player who I think he can improve it, even though, like, historically, talking to people who have worked with him in the past, this is MNS. This is who he is. And if Cloud9 are able to change that, again, I think they could, because Cloud9 have been pretty good about these things. They are the ones who, built Copy to what he is now. Of course, he worked. You know what I mean? They were a big part of that. So if they can do that with MNS, dude, what a player he would be.
Indeed.
Very exciting stuff. That's not going to be the only Jimenez take that we see in this segment, but we've got another one here. This one comes from Grapes on Twitter. This is after the Game 2 performance win from AOE against 100 Thieves Challengers. He says, Winnie's been great with his setups on Vi, and Lynx has actually looked really good even in their losses. Maybe this is the turning point for the season for the most hyped up provisional roster. So, two things here. One, did Lynx look really good in that loss?
This is versus 100 Thieves?
No, in the game we just watched.
In this
in the game. It was okay. I think
I'd say early on it was okay. I think the combination of the Kalista Nautilus did not get as many payouts as I would have liked it to, and I think that if you're gonna pick that bot lane into Zeyzal and Loss, you have to mechanically execute.
Makes sense. It is his signature pick. Maybe falling a little bit flat for our expectations. The other part of this as well, AOE, the most hyped up provisional roster. It's a little bit revisionist to go back to this, but do you two agree with this?
I mean, we said they're the best provisional team, or best provisional bot lane at least. So
that's true.
But the team itself is what you're asking.
Yeah, that was in the take.
So going into the split, it made a lot of sense to do that. Now, no. I mean, realistically, they have things they need to work on, especially if they want to avoid the promotion relegation tournament. There is a chance, that they improve enough to overcome fear in playoffs, since there's still a bit amount of time. But I think wildcard, as far as they are the best provisional team, and that's not going to change, in my opinion, going forward. So even if AOE go to the promotion relegation tournament, I sincerely doubt they actually get relegated. But if you want to avoid that altogether, you got to get to work.
There you go. All right, moving on. We got another post-match results page from Reddit here. This is also about Jimenez. I'm glad to see Jimenez is looking as insane as expected. Man is legit mechanically better than all the LCS mids. Now that is a bold statement.
Now that's the Reddit I know.
Yeah, what are we thinking here?
That's a little bit cap, I feel like.
Yeah. Lennon, I need you to talk for a little bit. Stall for me really quick. I got something for this.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm stalling.
There
I'm
he goes.
I'm stalling. I'm stalling. No, I do think that it is interesting to think about, but I don't see that being the case, especially when you have such great performances across the board from a lot of our newcomers in the LCS. That it's yes, a newcomer in the NACL academy, or like a system, I guess, but being able to kind of get that into a conversation is not, I feel like, where we're at right now. All
right, Beatdown, what are you doing over there?
I just could you show the take really quick once more for everybody, Summer?
I put that up on the screen here.
Awesome.
The Reddit prof
Yeah, perfect. Legit. Okay, now we can go back to me. Now, chat, I want you all to say it with me now. Cap.
Oh my God, this is what we were building up to.
Because that's crazy. MNS is a good player.
All right.
Very good mechanically, but that's some cap.
All right, we gotta go ahead and get on to draft here. I appreciate you so much, Smax, for the insight into some of those wins, but also some of the conversations that it raises across the board. I appreciate you. We'll check in with you after the series is over, and we'll get that interview with you as well. But we're gonna go into draft now. Cloud9 Challengers on the blue side, AOE on the red side. Bright as rain, right as normal, as we'll see if those bans do change over on Cloud9 side. So far, so good. The Gamsu Gangplank not making its face known today.
Just want to quickly say, I was so scared I wasn't going to find my hat and the whole joke would have been ruined. I had you know what I have instead too? I was flexing last week or the week before to sub, and I was going to do my best Kangas impression. And you know what I made for that?
What'd you make? Let's see.
Made this. And I never got to use it, and it's just been sitting there, and I finally got to bring it up. So thank you, Lennon, for giving me that opening somehow. I appreciate it.
Can we please? Can you wear that for the rest of the day?
I was waiting for an excuse.
Anyways, we're gonna get into the picks and bans here. Cloud9 Challengers do have the Caitlyn ban again for them. They also joined that Ashe yet again. We'll see the Maokai though banned by AOE. Don't want to give that one over this time around, and does change some of that priority in the jungle pool. We still have the Sejuanis, the Vi's that are big importance for both of these two junglers.
Yeah, and I'm feeling the first little bit isn't going to change very much unless AOE want to take a different approach. Because overall, actually true, the Xayah was banned before. And this time around, it was let through, and it's something that has shot up in priority. I mean, it's partially the changes on 13.1b with Navori Quick Blades and everything else, and it's also Rakan getting a slight little buff on this patch that we happen to be on right now. So overall, really good bot lane. AOE, Rakan is the Skytech special, so it would be kind of baller to be like, sorry, you can't first pick it like that. Give me the Rakan.
Yeah, I love to see that from AOE, flexing some of their muscles, and especially some of that comfort for Skytech, where I will say I definitely want to see something more comfortable come out after that Nautilus in the combo with Lynx last time around. But Winnie will be on that Sejuani, so still that facilitation, still a lot of that forward aggression and momentum that he needs in the early game to set up AOE.
Right, and again, it's a big pick for Skytech here. You got a lot of long-range engage options, especially with Winnie on the Sejuani. So what else is going to come through here? You can pair Xayah realistically with a lot of different things. I've seen enchanters, engage, you name it, Lennon. There's a lot of options there. But looking at the jungle, this time around, Tomio is going to be taking the Vi. The all-in that we know and love to see is going to be locked in once more. And even though we're seeing slight differences in what these teams are playing, I think so far overall, it's kind of the same general feel, same identity so far.
I ain't saying it's a confidence pick, but I am saying that I feel like Gloss and Zeyzal are flexing a little bit here. It's saying that they definitely want to see what Zeyzal could do on the Nautilus that maybe Skytech could not. And I think when we talk so heavily about just the growth of both of these bot lanes as a whole, but the level that Lost and Zeyzal have been at, and then in the provisional space, the level that Lynx and Skytech have been at, that's where I was really excited to see a lot of blood back and forth. And now we get even more of that setup. And we get Lynx on the Zeri, so a little bit more late game focused for the bottom lane of AoE.
So not as much really in the early game pressure. I imagine this is going to be very bloody in the bot lane, kind of like you were alluding to, Lennon. And that's going to be that big determinant. How are these junglers going to be able to influence the bot matchup? Especially because of who these bot laners are, especially on Cloud9's side. Lost Zeyzal, best bot lane we have. You can't let these guys get going. And if you're Cloud9, you absolutely want to get these guys going. And that's kind of the back and forth that you're dealing with.
Now we are in the second phase of bans. We get the Silas from Cloud9 Challengers and the Vex from last game against MNS. And his Akali actually banned. That still leaves some power picks on the table for MNS. He has found solo kills. So many different picks. I don't think you're going to be able to take that down. His LeBlanc is the first thing that comes to mention here. But I definitely want to see what Cloud9 Challengers want to go with in their final ban here, especially when we're still looking at solo lanes and maybe even that mid lane to be a centerpiece after kind of the exposed underworkings that was done in the mid lane with MNS finding such a big lead.
And it's going to be interesting. So it's the Cassante takeaway at the end there. I was kind of wondering whether or not Gamsu would actually go for that one again. Now you have Zeri. Maybe I was thinking something more on the scaling side of things, like an Ornn or something to give you that kind of front line, especially because you're seeing Dark Wings lock into Azir. You got all the punching power you need. You just need someone to hold the mitts for you. And that analogy didn't work as well as I thought it would in my head, but you know what I'm going for here. Gamsu, just play the Ornn, please. Gratify me a little.
Set it up a little bit, but also the fact that Dark Wings is getting a comfort pick in the Azir, and they banned around it, right? Taking away that Akali that is good into Azir that Jimenez could definitely use to kind of punish. But it is the Scion or Fake God up there, so we'll get that continued focus with that. A lot of the crazy unstoppable onslaughts coming through for him. And we'll see if it will be this LeBlanc, and it is. As MNS has found so many kills. He's so bloody on this pick, and he will pick it up yet again.
Yeah, this is definitely one of, I mean, he plays a lot of champions, but it's definitely one of his scarier ones, because if he does get going on this pick, he is able to run over a game. I know if you ask Cubby, there's one specific LeBlanc game he will tell you about nonstop, and Cloud9 are looking to emulate that one once more.
Yeah. And we do get the final pick for Gamsu, though. It is the Gnar. The team fight setup for AOE. It's actually looking really, really stable. The question is, though, with this forward momentum that Cloud9 are just bolting at them with, are you able to survive the early game and to get to the late game? Because you've got all the pieces to a great team fight combo, but then you have to look at what you're facing across the table.
Right, and for Cloud9, a lot of that early game is going to be Tomio. We know he's the makes a lot of decisions early game, makes a lot of the early game calls and plays, and this is one of those games where that's going to be especially important because one, when he's going to be doing the same thing, that's what he does, and also if you fall behind, we got a bit of that role reversal here. You can front to back team fight very well as Cloud9, but AOE, you have Zeri, you have this Rakan, you have Gnar, you have a lot of good ways to team fight on top of a lot of DPS to back it up.
And something else here that I'm definitely looking to the kind of strategy for Cloud9 is the fact that Lost is on a very safe ADC in the Xayah, and Zeyzal is on this roam heavy support on the Nautilus, a lot of engage. And as soon as the bot lane gets broken open, it's like Cloud9 evolve into their third form immediately, because Zeyzal, Tomio meeting up together, it provides such a powerful decision-making tool for Cloud9 as a whole. So I'm definitely looking for Zeyzal to get active on the map as soon as possible. Maybe Lynx and Skytech can either answer that or find a response in the lane. But make sure you're spamming in the chat who you think's going to win this game.
Yes.
AOE or AOE and C9C for Cloud9 Challengers.
Here we go. AOE needing to bounce back after a pretty difficult and heartbreaking loss back in game 1. Cloud9 looking to continue the dominance, continue increasing the win record that they have here. And M&S, it's just for Vision, right? Surely. Yeah, okay.
Got a little bit of the Vision game going early. A little trade back. Darkwings wins.
Yeah. That's a good start. That's what we like to see.
It'll be opposite side starts for both junglers, though, as we look to them, to these early potentials for both sides. We've seen them be so influential here, and it actually looks like Winnie might be hovering to go towards this top side of the map a little bit. He's clearing those wolves pretty heavy. We will see, though, this continued trade back and forth, I'm sure, for a lot of the early game in the bot lane. And I do wonder what kind of unique pathing we get from Tomio or Winnie here.
I'm glad you meant. Oh, for a second I thought
he was going to walk up.
Yeah, because he must have known that a ward was placed when you saw where M&S was walking from. There was that opportunity to walk top, especially because M&S, you even saw the ping. They thought he was on the Raptors. They thought he started topside. But opportunity lost. Winnie is now known to the side of Cloud9. It is going to make it easier for the laners, Cloud9, to be able to play around that, especially for Fake God, because you can see now he knows, like, oh, he's bot side. Oh, I'm just going to hard push. We're chilling.
We just chilling. 60% now for Cloud9 Challengers.
Okay.
Decent amount of Cloud9 support here. And then, you know, if you are those Cloud9 supporters, make sure you're using your hashtags NACL on Twitter. Maybe your tweets will come on here, and we'll get to talk about it. And actually, I haven't gotten since that one. Maybe be
This is the Victor tweet.
Yeah. He soured it all. No.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, it is Winnie actually bypassing this clearing after having full cleared his blue side to go for this top lane gank onto Fake God.
So not even the gank?
Well,
just
by.
You know what it is? People, like, they don't know where Tomio is. So you're unsure if a dive is being set up on the top side. So it's just that presence where it's like, hey, I'm here for you. Don't worry. And it's also it's that you can't see what I'm doing, but it's that, you know, you point at your eyes and then you point at Fake God. Be like, I'm watching you.
I'm watching you here.
Don't you dare. I'm here. You know that.
See a pretty good push on the bot side for Lost and Zeyzal. Tomio will be here as well. They'll try to do a little bit of a foray into the enemy jungle, but see that nothing is there. Scuttle Crab given over here to Tomio. As if actually full clear has already been completed for both sides here, and Tomio actually a little bit ahead of the curve and gets a little bit of that aggressive vision. I think that has been Cloud9's bread and butter now in this second game, to try and keep some of that vision on Winnie and spot out where he's going.
And for the most part, they've been able to do just that. And it means that Tomio's been able to farm, hasn't needed to go anything, is very comfortable with just farming, going for deep vision, and then recalling. Like you said it, already so many wards in the bottom side jungle of AOE. And it's true, one gets placed here for Winnie. will give you that extra bit of knowledge onto Tomio as well. But Tomio got to back. He's back on the map first and does have that opportunity to make something happen.
I don't know if we're going to get that early facilitation here, but we will get facilitation at some point. I mean, that's just trying to for the long range chain. We'll find it up there, but it actually is Winnie going back towards bottom lane. Gamsu getting pretty low against Fake God. And I'm interested at this Meganar matchup here as he has evolved into it to try and clear this wave a little bit down by himself because he's got no help from Winnie right now.
Yeah, and this is the most part how AoE tends to operate. Winnie doesn't throw a lot of attention onto that top side, and Gamsu is very good at just being on the island. You know, the traditional top laner. He's any team's top laner. That's what you're looking for with this player. And it's just looking to farm and continue to scale up, because once you get level 6, then you get some more stats, you have access to that Gnar ulti, then you can start to actually set up plays and set up for objectives like this Rift Herald. But oh, I like this move.
If they can actually make something pull off here. Level 6 is not anywhere to be seen just yet, even from this mid lane, but it is just kind of ships in the night so far for both sides, as it does sound like we have a little bit of an issue here. It sounds like a pause has been sprung on us, as there's an in-game bug of some sort that I'm sure we'll be picking through here. So a little bit of a delay to our last game, of course, but you got to have some fun and a little bit of buying of time here while we saw the early pushing of both teams not really lend to much.
Yeah, not a whole lot has really transpired yet. It's really slow and steady early on, and now all we're really seeing from that last frame before we came back was Dragon being started for Cloud9. And I mean, that early Drake is good for them because they do want to be stacking. At the very least, deny that stacking option from AOE. And at this point, it's just kind of talking more about, again, like what we're expecting from this particular draft, these teams in general. Cloud9 being that team at the top of the table. Summer said it before we went back to this game, before we started the series, that Cloud9, along with Dig and Wildcard, top 3 teams in the league. I don't think anyone's going to question you about that. And AoE definitely in that uphill battle, as we saw in game 1, and as I think we may start to see in game 2 unless they get the ball rolling.
I think so too, and you do always question a lot of these late game decisions for some of these times when you have those early advantages and you're wondering how they close out games. And now Cloud9, we've seen them be able to do that, but we haven't gotten that shade of AoE where we see them get that big early advantage and close that out. And I think that's where I've seen the brightest moments. Obviously, we've talked about that a ton for AoE, but it is an interesting development nonetheless.
It is, and so far we talk about how you look at the junglers, and I think it's interesting too. We talked a lot about Winnie, but I think we didn't really get the chance to go into Tomio a little bit more. And you saw it on the graphic that he's that player who was in the Evil Genius system for a while. We were really hyped out about him in Evil Genius Prodigies, but then when he joined EGA last year, wasn't the Tomio that was promised, was the thing we like to throw around a lot. But seeing him on this roster now, seeing that, one, he seems like he's enjoying this team environment more. He's definitely more confident these days. We're starting to see more of that player that we ended up expecting.
Yeah, indeed. I do hear that in-game bug does lead to us having to do a chrono break. We'll be having some issues sorted out there as well. But obviously, I think a lot set up in this last game to kind of bounce AoE back off of that the first game of the series, because, again, back to like my whole shtick with this whole thing is the fact that it just didn't feel like that AoE, even though we got the shades of it, right? We had the picks that were right. It just didn't feel like on the mechanical aspect we got the same AoE that we know and love. And I definitely look at this second comp where we're seeing a lot more reliance on, can we make it at least 2 team fights? Can we at least make it to a point where we get a 5-on-5 fight that we feel confident in because we have scaling aspects? And I kind of like that kind of safety net that they've drafted for themselves.
Right, and it's still a comp where they can be active early on, especially with that Recon support. And my eyes are going to be on that Rift Herald fight, which, I mean, we're still a couple minutes away from, especially with the chrono break that you mentioned coming through. But when you look at the top side, the AoE have with the Gnar, Sejuani, Azir, the 3v3 there, especially if you bring Skytech up too, is actually quite strong. And it means you'll be able to secure that powerful objective early on. And that's where that snowball can begin. You play for this bot side. You set up Lynx for success. And he can be that player that we kind of hype up. And I think for good reason. Because, you know, I've talked to Winnie a couple times since the split started. Loves Challengers League and the setup it is. Of course, being one of the provisional teams that get to be in it. You get to play against high-level competition. You get to improve. And he talked about the confidence it builds, not just for him, but for newer players like Lynx in the bottom lane, because Lynx is less experienced. It hasn't been around as long as someone like Winnie, Skytech, or the other players we see on the Rift on both sides. Yet he's been able to hold his own. He's been able to play and have some really high highs, and he's an exciting player. I think it's worth continuing to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. And I just love looking at some of the other pieces of the AOE Gold roster, because then you have kind of the chips on shoulders from Darkwings and Gamsu, who Gamsu's a mainstay in late season post-season games for his squads, and especially the Dignitas squad of past. And Darkwings as well was an integral part until they found Insanity. So these guys really trying to make things mesh really well with AOE, and I think some of the backing they have, some of the structure definitely helps that. I mean, we got to hear about that a little bit in the earlier part of the day, but about some of these provisional teams. But it still is that thing where they need to continue to kind of hone in on that win condition that they are actually pretty good at executing once they get an advantage.
That's the biggest thing. They need that advantage to execute on. And to be honest, they've made comebacks because of the decisiveness we keep hyping up on. But it will take more than that to be able to beat a team like Cloud9, because this is one of those games where we've seen good performances. Even with that negative win record, this is a team we're confident not going to be relegated, even if they end up not being top 2 provisional in playoffs and they go to the tournaments. From the teams I've seen down there in the NACL qualifiers, AOE should still be able to hold on to this spot. But of course you're here because you want more than that. It's funny, before the interview I did with Winnie for the piece we saw earlier on into the day, we talked a lot, actually. Like, we went on for like half an hour or something along those lines, and then I was like, oh wait, we probably should record this, and then we could keep going. You know what I mean? And we got into a lot of it about how, like, things like, ever since his time on TSM, he played remote. They only had him on for the one split, and the dude has just been hungry this entire time. What is it, 3 years now, trying to make it back. Finally has this opportunity to play at this level again, but of course he wants more than that, trying to get to the LCS, and it kind of starts here in the Challengers League.
Apparently, we got an update. There is no chrono break. We're going right back in the game.
Let's go!
It is dragging on the table for Cloud9, and we back, baby.
That's what we like to see, Mazel. And you know what? It's perfect because we already did all the setup coming in for the rest of this game here. Again, Tomio. Rest of Cloud9 get Dragon number 1. But my eyes are on the Rift Herald fight, which is about 2 minutes away. Setup soon is what I'm expecting, especially on AOE side. Skytech, will he recall? Will he just make the straight walk to the top side? That's what I'm looking for.
Guess we'll see now that we've had a little bit of a pause. Looks like mid lane we're actually getting a little bit of action. It was MNS who had to burn that flash, and that will be returned to absolutely by Winnie.
Already, oh wait, we got more.
Oh, we do. Hey, they're sitting there in the pause. Guys,
they're antsy.
I want to fight. This is not what I came for. As Cloud9 definitely want to raise up the fisticuffs here into AOE. As Tomio takes that first punch with the Scuttle Crab. Actually now looks to punch in on a Winnie with his own fist here, but it looks like Zazel on that move early on means AOE will be pushed off of this potential bot lane scuffle, I guess.
No longer a scuffle, just a good old-fashioned glare, good old scowl, as everyone just walks their separate ways as if it never happened.
That's the theme so far the first 7 minutes. We got the dragon, but then, like, everybody's been like, try to set up things. Oh no, it's not working. Okay, we walk away.
He's just standing there, menacingly. And that's just been the name of the game. And we talk about Rift Herald, we talk about the reset and things like that. Oh!
Lost, that's a big use. But, no, you got to watch out. A little bit of that damage back from Lost. Gives a little bit of taste their own medicine to AOE's bot lane.
That's pretty interesting. Zazel was recalling, and I'm almost certain he was going to go topside and set up for that potential Herald play. Now he's going to recall, but because Lynx and Skytech have waited, Zazel will still be able to go there first. It's just whether or not Lost also wants to join. And we'll see after the... Oh, they haven't even recalled. Oh my god.
So all I'm saying is that SkyTech is playing the Baolan Rakan skin. I got to cast Baolan last night. It's all working out to give AOE a second game. So that's where the head's at, right?
Yeah.
But first and foremost, I think the biggest thing as we focus on SkyTech is the fact that he's roaming out. And this was the answer I wanted to see when we were coming out of draft. Zeyzal will be roaming. I need to see SkyTech do the same.
Right, and this is what I was talking about. Because Lost and Zeyzal stayed to get another wave in, you see them backing off on the side of Cloud9. They know that Zeyzal should be later, and SkyTech is already mid. So they're going to push this, help Darkwings get the shove, and it should just be the walk-up to go for this neutral objective. But remember, everybody is level 6 now, except... Oh, no, even Zeyzal. He just ticked over. So... it's going to be a battle of ultimates.
Oh, they're actually going in. Tomio took that engage, but he gets engaged right back on. First blood goes to SkyTech. What did I say, Beatdown? The IG gods are watching here as SkyTech puts on a show.
And what a show it is. One all of AOE can be happy to watch as they will secure that Rift Herald. And you even have Lynx shifting over to that mid lane to catch that wave as Darkwings becomes part of the play. This is the stuff we want to be seeing. It keeps resetting, though. This Rift Herald is very, very indecisive.
I'm also just interested that AOE are able to kind of strike like that. We didn't get to see the whole engagement. I was going to say it was a little bit awkward, and that was actually the reason for that little pause break there. So obviously a little bit of interesting stuff there, but Tomio actually in that whole thing, I saw him go over so early.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much of a follow-up there, but that's some of that decisiveness that you're trying to find for Cloud9 as we get a replay of what happened at topside leading to that.
Yeah, and I think it really all starts here because Gamsu, usually you don't want to Mega Gnar so early, but Fake God trading very aggressively, so Gamsu just uses that Gnar to push him out of the fight. And look at that. You have the all-in from Tomio. M&S wasn't near enough. Lost wasn't near enough, and he's out of the picture. Whoa. At this point, there's nothing else going. Whoa, yeah, what happened?
Yeah, the Rift. That's what the Rift Herald was like, having a very weird situation. They had, like reset the auto attacks like 3 times in the charges. That was interesting, but nonetheless, it was AOE that came away with the capitalization there with that chaos happening, and they get that kill onto SkyTech. But more importantly, they just get something on the map for themselves.
Yeah, really important for them, even if they aren't Drake stacking just yet. Now, the question I would ask is, where is Herald going to drop? But it's got to be the bot side, Lennon. Like, you want to be playing for the Zeri. Lynx has been going even so far. And in that even game state, especially once you get the 2 items, that's where Zeri really starts to come online. But, Lennon, hear me out. What if we got there faster? You know what I'm saying?
Is that what you're saying? Is
that's literally what I'm saying.
The game here?
Yeah, like some turret plates, a little extra gold. We go fast. There's no slow. That's only 1 kill in 11 minutes. I want to see dives. I want to see turrets gone.
Well, I think we got that last time for Cloud9.
I want it again.
I want it again from AOE's perspective this time around. As now it is another dragon going over to Cloud9 Challengers. And I was sync-witting down this way. He does have that Rift Herald available, but that'll be 2 dragons stacked up for Cloud9.
Yeah, not unexpected. They've done a really good job controlling this bot side river. And now we find out the soul going to be Hemtech. At the moment, it's still just a slow game here. AOE, a lot more reserved in the early game. Even that earlier fight they won wasn't when they started. It was one Tomio went in too deep for. So AOE could be waiting for that right moment for them to be able to get the big team fight win. Kind of like what Cloud9 did in that last game. And my eyes are still on Winnie. You have Rift Herald. More than half the time has passed, and the eye will start to expire in like 30, 40 seconds. Meaning that has to start, you have to start planning where to drop that soon.
I do want to focus, though, that there is a big item differential in the bot lane right now. I mean, it was just bits completed from Lynx, while a full Gale Force was there for Lost. So if they get 1 catch like this, that's a Gale Force. Oh, Lynx has nothing to say. I speak about it and magic happens. Lost on the board.
Wow. Really nice punish. There was just no way Lynx was going to be able to move up. And that's the lead. That's going to start to come through here. From Lost and Zeyzal, this is what we're talking about with this bot lane. Now we're going to see Winnie trade on the other side.
Here's the double knockup, and Tomio's right here. The Mega Gnar is not enough. Gamsu needs to get out of there. Glacier Prison used by Winnie. Fake
He's here.
him down, but M&S is the one that capitalizes. And he puts his name as a stamp on the top blade of AOE as Tomio picks up one as well. And it's just feeling like another game one.
And just like that, things have been even the whole time, Lennon. And all of a sudden, Cloud9 break the game wide open once more. You know the worst part? Herald's gonna expire before Winnie even comes up. That's right. Neutral objective. Worked so hard.
That happen in so long.
Yeah, and it's just out of the picture now. There it is.
2 seconds too late. Literally 2 seconds. It's okay. You rinse it off. You come back onto the map. You get proactive again because you cannot back down from AOE. They do have scaling strength, but they can't continue to give a lot of this lead away.
This is where the play comes from. I mean, okay. All right. See, you had that ward there. That's a misplay. No other way to put it there, Lennon, because you know he's in the bush. You know that even if that ward is cleared, like the vision is there. Everything you need is there, and you end up getting hit. Probably thinking that you aren't going to get 100 to 0'd, but you did.
Gale Force just too good. And then we can see the top side fight, and it's Winnie actually playing the aggressive side here. Gamsu about to have Meganar, goes in, but it's the quick answer from Tomio. And that's what we've seen this entire series. Tomio's always there to answer onto Winnie's engages.
Right, and honestly, really nice cease and desist from Tomio. I mean, whatever we say about his plans and his decision making, he's got good mechanics, especially on Vi. Able to dodge out on the Gnar ultimate just so that you don't get displaced, and the Gnar is harder for him to run away. Cloud9, from the small things to the big things, they are just so good overall as a team, and it's what caused the dam to finally burst for AoE's defense this game.
Now we're looking at circling 2 items for M&S. I'm sure we're getting a little close for Lost as well, as he just got his boots completed there. And luckily for AoE, they'll start having items come online for them, but it's not a comp again that stacks off of what item or things like this. This is a late game comp from AoE that they have to strategize the early game, figure out how to lick their wounds here, and find a way to make it to 25-30 minutes.
Maybe some bandages that might help as well. Is there anything you can think of? Yeah, rubbing alcohol.
Some icy hot. I don't know. That's for
like bruises and like muscle
wounds?
stuff.
Yeah,
it's actually terrible.
All right. Well, not that one. I'm obviously not a medical professional.
No, you know what it is? Cloud9 are trying to rub icy hot in the wounds of AoE by continuing to advance this lead. Look what they're doing. They're getting the next Rift Herald. They're going to knock these turrets down. No, it's not.
It will be the Rift Herald they're going over, as you said. This one more than likely to be used by Cloud9. But we want to see where they're going to put those resources. M&S has actually pushed down this side lane tower himself. We have that focus in mid lane. Even though no towers had gone down, it was that kind of reassigning of the lanes, and now M&S gets first tower.
I think now's a good time to talk about gold between these players at the moment here, because before things were even Steven. But now we see in these last couple of minutes a 3,000 gold lead has developed, and it's in the most important spots, Lennon, mid and bot, especially with that turret just picked up for M&S, and another turret should go as well. Oh my god,
that's close.
Sneeze on it. How much HP?
Literally.
I actually need to know. That's crazy.
I'm sure we'll get to it in a second, but it looks like AoE is actually pushing out here. But something I love to see as well is just, again, kind of that point that we had highlighted before where, yes, Zeyzal and Lost are so damn good in lane. But it's also with Zeyzal is able to connect with Tomio. I mean, things just level up, and the combination of these two working together, again, he's like a sword for Cloud9. It's been really, really impressive. Nice flash. M&S breaking Skytech's ankles.
Fancy feet coming through for this LeBlanc. First it was Copy, and now it was M&S. And the map is just continuing to get squeezed dry for AoE. They're going to go ahead and start the Drake. M&S, though.
There, like, we fighting something. We have not gotten enough back. Gamsu's on Meganar. We want something back here. We need something back
look,
here.
He has an angle. This is empowered blast cone, remember?
Got to go over the wall. I think Cloud9 realized that the big Meganar is missing, but he's losing his Meganar, and he's run out.
Oh, it's gone.
You will not be able to get anything. Can Winnie make the difference here? M&S is on the Lynx on the side. They're trying to get the pit, but the Dragon is not the focus. It's all of AOE that's the focus. Darkwing's got a big ol' Emperor's Divide, but he's divided into pieces as Cloud9 again continue to decimate AOE on Summoner's Rift.
Oh, sorry, SkyTech. You're not getting away from this one, and the decimation continues.
Bolo for M&S.
So good from Cloud9, and we're kind of flexing. I'm going to be honest. I got to talk about it in the... Oh, perfect timing. Thank you. And the big person I want you to watch, once you know the Neganar is up and available, Zazel looks, M&S looks, but look at Lost. I want to see if something... stands out to you there. First of all, he sidestepped the Glacial Prison, which is actually insane. Good for him. And he ults aggressively. You're playing Xayah. We're just flexing on these guys.
We said earlier.
Yeah, true.
He said he's the most aggressive ADC he's ever played with.
That's right. And you know what else he just did? All those feathers he laid down with his ult. He flashed and used recall to be able to hit somebody else. He used his flash and his ult aggressively as Xayah. And that just further proves that point. Like, so many AD carries will tell you that's inconceivable. Lost? Nah, bro. It's just Saturday.
Man would fit right into the LPL as well, as those aggressive plays are name and center for Lost here. M&S, though, maybe taking the brunt of some revenge anger of AOE. Can he make it out of this one? I don't think it's going to be likely as Winnie chases him down, gets the shutdown, so decent amount of gold to the shot caller of AOE.
I like the attempt, you know, hold it to see if Darkwings or Lynx or someone can catch up and get the shutdown, but ultimately he's off the map. Gold you need, but that presence, look what it costs you in the mid lane. All that pressure top leaves that vacuum in the mid lane, and Gamsu, you're just pretending, bro. You can't stop that turret from going.
That is another tower going over to Cloud9, and they now have a 6,000 gold lead just about. Fake God getting ever so tanky. As AOE were actually starting up the Baron. Bold, Cotton.
I mean, again, this gold lead you have is insane. You're forcing teleports. They can turn and fight.
Unstoppable onslaught. They're trying to get in, though. They actually have found out Darkwings. Oh, though, as well, they engage. Now lightning crash from Lynx. He's over the wall. Fake God still has so much damn health, though. And SkyTech, he's trying to run away, but Zazel cleans him up. Gamsu down to the Vault Breaker of Tomio. And AOE, they've been dusted. Winnie's the only one left. And this should be a Baron to Cloud9 Challengers.
And this is what AOE try to do sometimes. The Baron call that can turn the game in your favor, but if it doesn't work, you fall further into the hole. Cloud9, 8K up, and it's only going to go higher with the Baron, with the turrets that they're going to take as a result. And Cloud9, once more, have all the tools to close this game out and end day one at 2-0.
And they needed this as well to continue contesting for those top spots. We had heard Smack say earlier, just the fact that they are these top teams here and needing to make this win over AOE. And it's just dissection of a team fight that AOE were opting into, forcing the Baron fight.
And look at that. Four people jumped on top of Lost, had the Feather Storm, used the Gale Force, and Winnie could smell what was going on. He needed to walk away from the situation immediately. AOE fall to pieces.
Falling apart at the seams in that team fight, but it's still a front and center approach that needs to be there for AOE. If they can get a decent front to back, it works, but the catch outs like that, the split apart of the fight, that is not where you're going to find success. And Cloud9 don't want to give them any time to even think about it, any time to react, as everything is starting to fall apart in the base. That'll be now the inhib towers under fire.
And you can see that pressure onto both at once. And Gamsu doing his best to try and pick off something on the side there with the objective bounty, but it's not enough. He needs to come back now, but realistically, you can't stop this turret from going down. You clear whatever waves you want, but the Baron buff is Cloud9's, and you see M&S, who's going to constantly just keep escorting this mid wave as well. You're just stalling for time. as AOE. You're stalling for item spikes because Lynx hasn't hit 2 items yet. You're stalling for Dark Wings as well. And until that happens, you clear waves at a feverish pace and hope that it's enough for you to get to that point.
They're just like waiting over on the side.
Yeah,
They're
that's all they
back
gotta
to
do.
Fishing. They got their fishing lures out here as well. But I will say, Tovio, speaking of fishing, he's fishing with the Evan Shroud. Taking a little bit of page out of Skytech's book from last game, but especially with that little bit of extra help to the squad around in terms of that target selection. I'm really looking at this final push into this tower here, though. As Dragon is on the table, that is soul for Cloud9, but they have 48 seconds on the Baron still and 2 more towers to take.
God.
Now they take the engage and they just take the game after this one.
Yeah.
Skytech is out. Baron minions are there and they'll push an inhib.
Zinib is certainly out of the picture. Dark Wings could look for a shuffle. HP bars are kind of low, but Lost has all his sums back and the Feather Storm. So the all-in is so risky. You could lose the game right here and now. So it's just the farming simulator game, but the teleports are coming through. Cloud9 want to close.
They got the depth charge. They got all the damage. But Gamsu with a double. It doesn't matter. It's never going to matter in a situation like this. AOE, they tried. They showed up. But Cloud9 said, no, we belong in the top 3 conversation. We are the best bot lane in Challengers. And we will find advantages against provisional teams that cannot be brought back from. As they will turn around, go to the Dragon. But it has been a 10,000 gold deficit that has been AOE's grave.
And Cloud9, they're not done digging yet, Lennon. They're going to get that Dragon Soul. They're going to back and spend all that gold they earned and really start to make AOE feel the might of the lead they have for themselves here. And all they have to do is cross the T's, dot the I's, and really, that's just burying AOE in those graves. They so kindly dug for them here. After this recall, Lennon, it's going to be it.
M&S might get caught here, though. He's pretty slippery. Trying to make it out of that one. The Root does a lot of work there on the Winnie, and M&S gets out yet again.
Blanc things. You love to see it. And just watch. I'm going to look at Lost. Look at Lost's item. I want to see how much money he spends. Okay, he had a dagger. Now he has rapid fire. Just to give you an idea. It does. It does. And I will say, you can tell Cloud9 know it's time to close because those last second purchases are coming through. M&S just bought an elixir, and you know something big is coming on.
They should just be looking to push this top sides, the one that has the most structure standing at least. Maybe a little bit of a give from the mid lane from Lost and Zazel, but you see Fake God's already up this way. AOE trying to respond with some defense, but Cloud9 are hunting for an end.
Oh, and they're going to find it. They are going to find it. Winnie, nothing he can really do there. Needs to walk away from the situation lest Cloud9 turn and jump on top of him. And it's just AOE. No, trying to clear out as much as they can. There is no Baron minions that they have to deal with. But Cloud9 are just waiting to pull the trigger. Your only chance is that Lynx has gotten 2 items. Dark Wings is 2 items. And maybe Skytech gets the engage of the century. But that is not an exaggeration. It would be one for the ages.
Now they pushed out, though, as some of those team fight aspects starting to show their heads from AOE. Maybe just a little bit too little too late, but it is this siege that will be denied. The defense actually coming through for AOE.
That's the wave clear from the Zeri Azir. It is buying time, but look at Cloud9. They don't mind. They're going to wait. They know someone has to answer this bot wave, so they're just going to stand at the edges of the jungle entrances here to see if someone steps up, see if someone makes that mistake, walks into the death trap. That's what Tomio's doing right now. Anyone walks out of the base, they're getting all in like you would not believe.
What kind of fishing we doing? We doing fly fishing? Is like deep sea fishing, charter boat fishing? Got some good old lake fishing. I don't care what kind of fishing it is, but here we definitely don't want to be a part of it.
That's right. I mean, what fish does? I'm going to go with fly fishing. That feels, because it feels the most epic, and this is definitely going to be an epic conclusion whenever
Okay.
Cloud9 decides to fight it out. And Cloud9 not taking any chances. Honestly, I don't understand why they won't just fight an end. Yeah, like that. Like, you're capable of this much damage. The Baron is like, you're just trying to have fun. It could just be that Cloud9 want to overcome the wave clear. They want to whittle down the turrets from outside the turret range, which is fine, but you're 12k up.
I think there is that hesitancy though when they're looking at the comp, right, and saying like, if we get caught out one bad time, a big Gamsu Meganar ult, or even just a very cohesive Glacial Prison, that does a lot, right? And you will get MNS picked off, you will get Lost picked off, and then you're looking for damage after that. But this is where we don't have anything to say in a non-5-on-5, and where they're getting a picked apart piece by piece and part by part by Cloud9 as Winnie tries to go back in now. They got the engage back. Darkwings wants to go for a big shuffle. The lightning crash has been used by Lynx, but they don't get damage back down, and shield bow has been popped as well. And that's a lot used, at least by the damage profile of AOE. They're going to have to retreat back, and they have some ultis back, but Cloud9 are TPing into the base. They want to end it.
That's right. Fake God goes back to base, gets some of his health back, spends some gold, and he is back in the picture. Cloud9 are about to close things out and end 2-0 on the night.
They want to push themselves to 16-4, and that upper echelon is looking real good for Cloud9. They'll be sitting high up on a cloud as another couple members from AOE will fall down. The Nexus is bare, and Cloud9 are dominant as ever, and this bot lane Lost in Zeyzal will assert their title.
And that title is definitely strongest in the lead, because we've seen some incredible bot lane plays from the bot lane of Cloud9. Lost in Zeyzal continue to impress from start to finish, and Cloud9 continue to hold on to their spot at the top of the table. And we tried their best, but Cloud9, the gameplay was just too strong.
And man, that matchup between TSM and Cloud9 tomorrow, those bot lanes, that's going to be a lot of fun. We were hearing Wild Turtle talk about it a little bit earlier. But that's it for our last series of the day. It was a 2-0 victory for Cloud9 Challengers over AOE Gold. We'll be back shortly after a small break with an interview from Smacks.
Hello, everybody. I am back with the victorious bot laner for Cloud9 Challengers. We've got Lost here on the interview. First of all, congratulations on the win-loss. That 2-0 has got to feel pretty nice. Moving on into the second half of the split, you guys are looking pretty dominant, I gotta say. The record is already, I think you guys are 16-4 now, so things looking really, really good. How are you feeling about this entire stretch as the team so far?
It's been a really good time. I think we get along pretty well. So I think our record is pretty solid, but to be honest, with our own expectations and how scrims have been going, we probably thought we would do a little better than our record.
Really?
Yeah, really. But so far, I think we've been doing pretty decent, and I'm pretty happy with the 2-0 today, and hopefully we can repeat that again tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. I think you're against TSM, if I remember correctly from the schedule, so that'll be a fun one. I wanted to ask you something because, you know, it's been on my mind for a while. The bot lane meta has been in a really weird spot for the entire year so far, and, you know, we've got marksman being played in the support position. What are your thoughts on that, and do you think that Zeyzal is ready to play a champion built for your role?
For sure. I think it's pretty fun because being lane dominant is so important right now. That's why Ashe is like basically bad. Really, really, really high presence across all regions. And Zeyzal is ready to play them. I just think we haven't had the opportunity to, or we don't prefer it, and it's not our best way to win so far. But we've been playing it in scrims, and he's been looking really good on them. So I think it's really interesting. But in solo queue, it's really funny to see supports try to play the 80 carry marksman.
It's a good time. I'm definitely one of those. I don't know if I'm quite in your elo bracket yet, but if you see a Varus running around, that could definitely be me. Speaking of your bottom lane with Zeyzal, you know, a lot of us on this broadcast have been saying around that you and Zeyzal are the best bottom lane in the entire league. And, you know, first of all, I agree with them. But second of all, it got me thinking about when I started watching the Academy League, which is now NACL, and it started with you as the best bot lane with Treats back in 2020, which, you know, I don't think that's a coincidence. You guys have been going strong for a while, and I wanted to get your thoughts on like the similarities between then and 2020 and now this year. What's similar to then? What's different from then? And yeah, how's that changed for you?
First and foremost, thank you guys for the praise. We appreciate that. I don't think it's like a how do you say, some kind of magical component. I just think I'm a pretty good player for Academy standards, and I think both Zeyzal and Trees are both really, really, really strong, if not best in their respective roles. So, you know, you put 1 and 1 together, and it'll be a result for us. That's just what I think. And it's been really, really good playing with Tristan. I think we get along, and the way we review and play together is pretty good so far. So, yeah, it's been a great time.
That's awesome to hear. You know, I know from watching this league for a while that a lot of players that have a lot of LCS experience that come down and play in the tier 2, whether that be Academy or NACL now, there can be a bit of a dip in terms of like motivation and keeping pace with improvements and that sort of thing. I wanted to get your thoughts on how that landscape has been for you and how it's been for you as a team as well, because you've got a few players like that.
I think it's really, really player dependent. I think you'd see a bunch of players do that, and then, you know, see a bunch of players who don't. Say, for example, Solo. He came back, and he's honestly, in my opinion, a great player. And he plays in TSM. He's doing really, really well. But he took a long break, and, you know, as long as your motivation is there, if you're, you know, old in age or young in age, it doesn't matter. All that matters is your passion for the game. So, yeah, you'll see it in the games.
Awesome. Has it been good to have other players that are in that same situation on your team to help keep that motivation going, like as a squad that way?
Sure. I think both our team and C9 as an org are, you know, don't really see, you know, last place or not doing well as an option, and they make that very, very clear. So at the same time, they do make it a good time, but, you know, performance in the end is still really, really important.
Performance has been paying off so far. I got one more question for you, Lost. What are you and the team going to do on Monday? It's a day off, and there's no games happening that day. What's going on?
We don't have plans yet, but if we do go 4-0, we will get food together or go out because we deserve it. If we don't, then maybe we don't deserve the food, but we'll see.
You don't deserve to eat? Is that what you're saying, or are you just not going to go out together?
I mean, if you win, you eat. If you lose, you don't. That's just how it goes.
Oh! All right, that's pretty intense. All right, well, for your sake, I guess I hope you win then tomorrow. I'm hoping for a 2-0. Well, we'll have to see tomorrow. Hopefully that happens for you. And yeah, thank you so much for the interview, Lost. Any last words you have before we take it to the rest of the guys?
Shout outs to C9, Sam, my coach, our team, and everyone who supports us, as well as our managers and our sponsors. They make all of that happen, so thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lost. Thanks to all those people as well. Good luck tomorrow. And yeah, thanks again so much for the interview.
Thank you.
All right. I do believe we're going to be throwing it back to the three of us, but
GG's
Beatdown
Lost.
Boulevard. There he is.
I'm here.
We're all
He's
here.
here. He surprised us. Whoa.
I'm here.
Scary. Oh, really, really nice stuff. Really great stuff to hear from Lost, and some of that confidence that's well earned at this point. And right,
Yeah.
like it is that conversation that continuously needs to happen, and that matchup tomorrow against Wild Turtle is going to be a bloody one, I am sure, as it was tonight for at least Cloud9's side. But I really appreciate just kind of some of that calmness that comes with you talk to a lot of the Cloud9 members here, Smacks.
Yeah, I really hope that not all the teams are like that. I hope that whenever a team loses, they
I was
don't
just thinking that.
starve themselves. Come on.
Competition is fierce, Smacks. All right,
A lot on
I
the
guess.
line.
just saying, there's a lot on the
Intense.
line here, and it's food.
Yeah.
My life is
But-
not built for me, Lennon. I need
No,
to
it is not. Indeed. Same. But we do want to talk a little bit about the standings here. I want to bring those up because we have had a little bit of movement. Dignitas are no longer just heads in above. They're not 3+ games ahead of everyone else. Cloud9 has evened that up. Even with wildcards win today, they also pushed themselves up to 15 wins. And the top 3 that you wanted are the top 3 were delivered, Smacks.
Yeah, I said that they were the top 3, partially because of the standings, but also just because they have been looking really, really solid. Again, by the way, Dignitas and Wildcard did play earlier on the other stream, so if you missed that because you were watching this stream, definitely go back and check that out because that was a bit of a heater from what I've heard. Yeah, I expect 2 of those 3 teams to make it to the finals and playoffs later.
All right, I like that take. All right, Beatdown, how's your day? Checking in on you. What do you think about those standings? See anything that's crazy to you?
I'm pretty sure Dig was 16-2 when the day started. That means Wildcard split the series with
Yes,
them,
they
which
did.
is insane. And I can't wait to go back and watch that one. And based on some messages I saw while Summer was doing the interview, some Nunu was played. So I'm very excited to see.
Indeed. Also, Fear took a 2-0 over FlyQuest Challenge.
That they did.
Kind of
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of huge. I do want to stop, though, and take a moment because we have to say thank you to Smacks for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to be back on broadcast with you. It's been way too long since we've gotten to have some fun together, and I had an absolute blast with you today. I do want to give you a moment to give any shout outs and where we can find you, what you're working on. I know you're doing a lot of the NACLQ stuff. Man, that's a hard word.
There's a lot of letters, it's a big acronym. But yeah, there are some qualifier games going on. They happen today and also tomorrow. I'm going to be casting that as well as the bit of a pre-show before NACL main starts. It's going to be a quarterfinal series on the stream tomorrow. That's Challengers League, so definitely going to want to check that out. Apart from that, we've got all the qualifier coverage going on either that channel or the other ones. We're making sure to get all of them streamed and all of them saved as well. We made a YouTube channel to post all the VODs. So if you missed any of the qualifier games, you're going to be on that YouTube channel. So yeah, been working really hard on that with all the team, mainly Out Battery, Grapes, Hawk, and Ravishing Ravish, and Leanne as well. We've been doing a lot of work, and Kai as well, who's been producing that. So that's been really fun. Yeah, I just love being so invested and so committed to the NACL stuff, and it's just been a great time. So happy to be here, happy to be on the qualifiers as well, and hope you continue to support all of it.
Absolutely. Make sure you all go follow her at Smacks Hyde. Please, please, please. And really quick before we do, thank you, Beatdown, for joining me on the cast today. It was an absolute pleasure to be with you. And again, to the production team behind the scenes, I do want to give a huge shout out to Monkey Bubble, to Rally Cry. It's been getting better and better, but we are at such a big peak now. Thank you all. And we have games more tomorrow. We have a short week. That doesn't mean we're over yet. So be here tomorrow for more NACL action, and we'll see you there.
Good night.